Scott Tilden. I brought along the Quran, and I'm at the Hickory bookstore in Washington Depot. This book has been banned numerous times throughout history. We won't even go into the discussion of the Crusades. But most recently, in 2013, the Russian city of Novosibirsk blacklisted as extremist a Russian version of the Quran. In 2012, Spain's parliament considered banning the Quran. In the United States, one of our leading intellectuals, Terry Jones, pastor of the Dove World Outreach Church in Gainesville, Florida, called for the burning of copies of the Quran on September 11th. You may have remembered that. That was back in 2010. And I want to talk with you tonight about four significant passages from the Quran and the Hadith. The latter being a report of the teachings, deeds, and sayings of the Islamic prophet Muhammad. These passages illustrate how a religion can inspire the pursuit of reason and knowledge. The first quote is from the Quran. This holy text calls upon Muslims to observe and study the physical world around them so that they might appreciate the majesty of Allah's creation. It reads, "Behold, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, the alternation of the night and sky, and the ships that sail in the sea with their loads, in the rain which Allah sends down from the sky, and thus revives the earth after its death. And then he spread in all kinds of animals, in the changing of the winds, in the clouds which have been left suspending between heaven and the earth. In all these are clear signs for people to understand." From the Hadith, here are some of the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad which encourage learning. "He who pursues the road of knowledge, Allah will direct to the road of paradise." My favorite from the Hadith, "On the day of judgment, the ink of the scholars will be weighed against the blood of the martyrs, and the ink of the scholars will outweigh the blood of the martyrs." These writings in the Quran and the Hadith inspired the Muslims to pursue knowledge. From the beginning of Islamic culture, its leaders promoted science and learning. They underwrote research by scientists and scholars. During the golden age of medieval Islam from 750 to 1492, its realm stretched from Spain across Africa through the Middle East into Asia, and Arabia lay at the very crossroads of trade between Asia, Africa, and Europe. Two of its capitals were the largest cities in the world for a time, and the site of libraries and universities. In fact, the oldest continually operating university in the world today is the 1,100-year-old Islamic University of Fez, Morocco, established in 859. It predates the University of Paris, Cambridge, and Oxford by more than 3 centuries. Wow. And I'm going to describe two of these cities, the first being Baghdad, that you're all familiar with. In 900, it was estimated that Baghdad was the world's largest city with a population of 900,000 people. The Caliph established a thing referred to as the House of Wisdom. Many learned scholars, including those of both Persian and Christian backgrounds, were part of the Research and Educational Institute. Besides translating books into Arabic and preserving them, the scholars associated with the House of Wisdom also made remarkable original contributions. Some of you may be familiar with the city in Spain of Cordoba, and it was the most populous city in the world, with estimates of 500,000 to 1 million people. Legend has it that Cordoba had 3,000 mosques, splendid palaces, and 300 public baths. In the 10th and 11th centuries, Cordoba was one of the most advanced cities in the world, as well as a great cultural, political, financial, and economic center. The Caliph al-Hakam II created libraries, medical schools, and universities. Let me conclude. Inspired by passages from the Quran and Hadith, Islamic scholars preserved and translated Greek, Persian, and Babylonian texts. In addition, their scientists created navigational aids for travelers, geographical maps, medical knowledge, ways of measuring and calculating, and tools for agriculture. These developments were critical advancements that led to the Renaissance, the scientific revolution, and the age of discovery. A final quote from the Hadith: "Obtain knowledge. Its possessor can distinguish right from wrong. It shows the way to heaven. It befriends us in the desert and in solitude, and when we are friendless. It is our guide to happiness. It gives us strength in misery. It is an ornament to friends and protection against enemies."